JavaScript is a language that is executed as single-threaded, meaning that multiple scripts cannot be executed at the same time. Scripts are interpreted and executed one after the other, line by line. Also, the triggering of events and the associated execution of event listeners do not happen in parallel. The code that triggers an event pauses until the corresponding event listeners have been executed. The same applies to callback functions. For example, if you make an AJAX request to a server, the script that makes the request continues to execute until the server prepares the response and sends it to the client. But as soon as the callback function that evaluates the response from the server is called, the surrounding code pauses. In software development, a thread is an execution string within a program. Programs that are single-threaded use only a single thread. This is in contrast to programs that are multi-threaded, in which not only one thread is used, but several threads, with one taking the role of the main thread. The WebWorker API counteracts this limitation of serial processing of scripts by defining an API for executing background scripts within web applications. With the WebWorkers defined in this API, it's then possible, for example, to execute computing-intensive scripts that would otherwise negatively affect the performance of a web application in the background, that is, in parallel with the main thread. WebWorkers are executed in separate threads. Therefore, it's necessary to keep the corresponding code in separate files as well. From the main thread, it's then possible to send messages to or receive messages from individual WebWorkers. By default, tasks in JavaScript can be executed asynchronously, but not in parallel. Only WebWorkers enable parallel execution. To create a WebWorker, use the worker constructor function, as shown in this listing. You pass it the name or path to the script to be executed by the WebWorker as a parameter. To send messages from the main thread to a WebWorker, use the postMessage method, passing any JavaScript object as a message as a parameter. To receive a message on the WebWorker side, you have to register a corresponding event listener for the message event or alternatively define the onMessage event handler. To do this, you access the global object of the corresponding WebWorker via the self variable. Sending and receiving messages in the other direction works the same way. Inside the WebWorker, you call the postMessage method to send a message to the main thread. Within the main thread, you can access the message within an event listener for the message event or within the onMessage event handler. For the sake of clarity, the communication process in both directions is shown once again in this figure. Thus, with the help of WebWorkers, tasks can be executed in parallel to the main thread. However, WebWorkers are subject to restrictions. First, they cannot access the DOM, and second, they cannot access the window object. The reason, WebWorkers are not executed in the browser window, but in the background. To continue your learning, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss out on a new video.